Good morning, boys and girls. Happy Monday. Hope you all had a super weekend. Hope you were able to be outside and enjoy some fresh air, have some family time. I'm sure you guys are having a lot of fun playing with brother and sister and spending some special time with mom and dad. Today, before we start our story, I just want to kind of remind you of a couple things. Last week, we looked at two of our Bible verses that we had already learned. Earlier in the year, we learned about Jesus telling the children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right, if you remember that one. And we talked about the Bible and how Jesus said, your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. And we want to remember to continue remembering those Bible verses. This week, I want to remind you of another Bible verse we learned. If you remember this one, it was found in Proverbs 18:24. And it was kind of had a silly song to go along with it. You might have to explain that to mom and dad when we talk about that song. It says, there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. And you guys remember, who is that friend? Yes, it's Jesus. Jesus is always with us. And the song talked about sticking, and if you remember, it's kind of funny. It was about peanut butter, and the song was kind of silly. But it was a great reminder for us to remember that Jesus is always with us. We can't see him like we can see each other here on the video, but Jesus is always with us. We can talk to him, we can pray. He's always listening. He doesn't need to sleep like I do and mom and dad do. Jesus is always listening to us, so we can always go to him in prayer. So this week, I want you to remember how Jesus is always with you and always can listen to your prayers. All right, well, let's get this Monday started. I'm so glad to be back with you. We read a lot of cool books last week. I hope you enjoyed those. Today, I have a story, and it's called, If You Give a Pig a Party? Have you guys ever been to a pig party? I don't think I have, but that sure is a cute little pig. Can you make a pig sound? Oink, 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 oink. I bet you can make that. Make it super soft. Oink, 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 oink. Now make it super loud. Oink, 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 oink. Good job. All right. If you give a pig a party. If you give a pig a party. I see him peeking around the door there. She's going to ask for some balloons. And when you give her the balloons, she'll want to decorate the house. And when she's finished, she'll put on her favorite dress, and then she'll call all her friends and invite them to the party. Her friends won't be home, so you'll go with her to look for them. On the way, she'll see a street fair. She'll want you to take her on the bumper cars. All her friends will be there. And then you'll have to take her on all the rides, and she'll want to play all the games too. When she's done, she'll ask you for some ice cream. And when she's finished eating the ice cream, she'll need to change her clothes. You'll have to take her home. She'll ask her friends to come along. And on the way, she'll start a game of hide and seek. And when you finally get home, you'll have to make dinner. And then she'll want to have a sleepover. You'll have to find her pajamas. And blankets and pillows for everyone. And when she sees the pillows, she'll probably start what do you think she'll start? You're right, a pillow fight. And then she'll make a fortress out of blankets. And of course, when she's finished, she'll want to decorate it. So she'll ask for some balloons. And chances are, if you give her some balloons, bet you guys know what's next. Say it with me. She's going to ask for a party. Cute story. Yeah, that was kind of fun. Hide and seek. Give me a thumbs up if you've played hide and seek before. Yeah, you might ask mom and dad. That's kind of a fun game to play, maybe with brother and sister. Kind of fun to do in the house, hide and seek. All right, if you give a pig a party. What a great story. Hope you enjoyed that, boys and girls. All right, today we're going to look at our handwriting page. And our handwriting page looks a little different. It is spring into reading. All right, and we have a picture of a flower. Does anybody know what kind of flower this is? It's called a tulip. It's a tulip, and we're going to start seeing those blooming. Tulips are super pretty flowers. They don't bloom for very long, but when they do bloom and they're out, they're very pretty. You might ask mom and dad, do you guys have any blooming or any tulips planted? Maybe in the yard, or you'll see them in the neighborhood. Tulips are spring flowers. So what we're going to do on our handwriting today, we'll see we have our handwriting lines, is a little different. First of all, we're going to go down to the bottom, and we're going to use our pencil. Remember, with our handwriting, we always use our pencil, and we're going to write our first name at the bottom. Use that pencil, capital letter. You know how to write your first name super neatly. All we need is our first name. All right, up here we have two handwriting lines. And what I want you to think about today is I want you to think about some stories that you like or read. Mom's read, dad's read, grandma's read to you, Mrs. Ferris has read to you. And mom and dad, if this is something we were doing at school, we would all kind of share different stories, talk about a story that we liked. Maybe it's one we read, or maybe somebody's read it to us. There might be that favorite story that mommy or daddy reads to you at bedtime. And mom and dad, we know how much they love the same story. And that's okay. That is so comforting to have that same story read. So boys and girls, pick a story. Maybe you even have it there in your house, or mom and dad can write this on a piece of paper if you just know the name of it. And then you're going to write the name of that favorite story. So today we read If You Give a Pig a Party, and I know that's kind of a long title. So if that was my favorite story, I would start over here. Of course, I see capital letter at the beginning of if, and I would use finger space between my words, and I would write that. All right. Before we left on spring break, we were reading about Dr. Seuss, and we read some Dr. Seuss books. We read Cat in the Hat. If that's your favorite story, and I know if you're like Miss Pierce, you have a lot of favorite stories. I know it's hard. I have lots of favorite stories. So I'm just going to try to pick one just for this project. So we're going to pick that one favorite story, and we're going to write it. Now, if we absolutely need to go down here and there's no handwriting lines, that's a-okay. Just do the best handwriting that you can down there without any handwriting lines. That's okay. But when we do have handwriting lines, we want to write neatly. We want to use our spacing, and we want to use our lines, our top line, our middle line, and our bottom line. And mom and dad can kind of check this and look over with you. All right, so first name at the bottom. And we're picking a favorite story for the top up here. It says spring into reading. So we're going to pick that favorite book and write it up there. All right, after you do that, boys and girls, you can, if you want, use your crayons and color. Mom and dad, if we have written in pencil, Afterwards, we might take a black marker or a small marker, something to kind of trace over those. If you want to do that, you can. If not, that's okay too. We just do need to be careful if we end up coloring this pretty tulip flower that we can still see the words. So either color around it, or boys and girls, you know how we've traced before using a marker over pencil on our handwriting line. So either one is fine. If we don't have time to color it, that's okay too. We see our flower, we see the stem and the leaves, beautiful spring tulip. But go ahead and work on that, boys and girls. I can't wait to see what your favorite story is. Put this also in that packet with your other papers, and I'll be sure and look to see what is one of your favorite stories. Go ahead and work on that. When we come back, we'll look some more at our letters.